1.5. Adding integers. To add integers with the same sign, you need to add the absolute values and use the common sign. So in numbers, for example, positive 8 plus positive 12 will give you 20. And for negative 6 plus negative 4, you would add 6 and 4 together to get 10 and use the common sign negative. If we use the number line, be 8 plus 12, which will give you 20. And for negative 6, we'll go the other way. So negative 6, negative 4 will give you negative 10. So when you're adding integers with different signs, you subtract the lesser absolute value from the greater absolute value. And you would use the sign of the number with the greater absolute value. So negative 8 would be the lesser value, and we need to subtract that from the greater absolute value of 5. So that would give you negative 3. And we use negative 3, or we use the negative sign because negative 8 has a greater absolute value of 8. And if we use a number line to look at this, so let's mark this as case 1, case 2. Okay, 5 plus negative 8, we'll go 5 units to the right, and a negative 8. And end at negative 3. So first we'll go in the right direction and then the left direction. The next one, negative 11. Okay, so negative 11, boom. Negative 11 plus 13. Give me 2. Okay, so an easier way to remember this is if you have different signs, you subtract, and you use the sign with the greater absolute value. And when you're adding integers that are opposites, the sum of the number and its opposite is 0. So for example, 7 plus negative 7 is 0. And this takes us to the additive inverse property. Okay, this just simply means when you take a number and you add the additive inverse, so this is the additive inverse, the opposite of a number, you get 0. Okay, let's take a look at the guided practice problems. To add two integers without using a number line, you need to use the absolute value of each number. Part B. How can you tell whether the sum of negative 71 and 43 is positive or negative without actually finding the sum? The sum here has to be negative because you need to look at the number with the greater absolute value. Negative 71, the absolute value is positive 71. The absolute value of positive 43 is 43. Since negative 71 has the greater absolute value, when you take the sum of these two numbers, the final sum will be negative. Okay, part C, find the sum. Negative 20 plus negative 32. They have the same sign, so you add. 19 plus negative 45. They have different signs, and the number with the greater absolute value is negative 45, so I know my final answer will have a negative. And the difference of 19 and negative 45 is negative 26. And this one, negative 40 plus 33 plus 12. I can first take the sum of negative 40 and 33, and that would be negative 7. And I can add that to 12. And negative 7 and 12 will give me 5. Part D, evaluate the expression when x equals negative 8, y equals 4, and z equals negative 5. Okay, again, when evaluate means to substitute. So when x is negative 8, z is negative 5, y is 4. So negative 8 plus negative 5, negative 13, minus 4. So minus 4 can be rewritten as negative 13 plus negative 4, so that would be negative 17. Part E, x and y are integers. Using the given information, tell whether the sum of x plus y is even or odd. Explain your reasoning. Okay, so the given condition is x and y are even. If we use numbers, 2 plus 6, say, 4 plus 8, we notice that when x and y are both even, the sum would always be even. So the sum of two even numbers gives you an even number. To solve this algebraically, we can double x. We can double y. And this will give us 2x plus y. Any number multiplied by 2 will naturally give you an even number. Therefore, it brings us to the same conclusion. Hockey. In the National Hockey League, a player is assigned a positive point each time his team scores while he is on the ice. He is assigned a negative point each time the opposing team scores while he is on the ice. No points are assigned if the scoring team has more players on the ice than the other team. The sum of the positive and negative points is called a player's plus-minus rating. So we have a very important sentence here. The table shows the points awarded to a player in 2 games. Find a player's plus-minus rating for game 1 and for game 2. So 3 plus negative 1 gives you 2. 2 plus negative 5 gives you negative 3. Why did I know how to do this? Because of this sentence. When you read a word problem, you need to learn how to extract important pieces of information. Okay? Part B. Find the total plus-minus rating for the 2 games. So I would take 2 and negative 3 and add them together to get negative 1. Okay, so I'm going to write the answers down here. 2 and negative 3. B will be negative 1. And C. Interpret and apply. Did the player have a better plus or minus rating in game 1 or in game 2? we will say game 1 because the greater the plus minus rating, the better the rating. Overdraft. Overdraft just means you've taken too much money out of the bank. Your checking account shows an overdraft or a negative balance. Your present balance is negative $25. You deposit $108, so that would be plus 108. And then you withdraw, meaning you take out $20 at an ATM, so minus. These are dollar signs. Explain why the expression represents your new balance. Do you expect the new balance to be positive or negative? Explain. So if I do the math, I would get $63. So that would be a positive balance. And that concludes our lesson for today.